We are back in the studio, technically, right? Let's call it a studio, right? Might as well. Like an art studio. I think I was going to clean my glasses, actually. I have my spare glasses here. I feel like I'm going to just entertain, like, the idea of putting them on. I still have my hot cocoa. It is still... I mean, it's not hot anymore, but it's still pretty good. That moment where I feel like I shouldn't have, like, brought it up because now I don't know where to put it. Yeah, so hi. I'm just gonna clean my glasses. That way I can see, which would be helpful. Always good to have your eyes on. What my spare glasses look like. But, oh, you know what I'll do? I'll hide it. I'll spin around. And then when I come back, they'll be on. Are you ready for this? Bam. That's what that is. Yep. These are my spare glasses. I really don't wear them that much. I probably should wear them more. But they're very nice. They're very big. They're very big. But yeah, that's what my spare glasses look like. They are quite big. And they don't have like an official nose piece. It's just like the frame of the glasses themselves. So, yep. I'm gonna slide these babies off. Gonna put them back where they belong. Although I suppose it could be argued that they belong on my face as well. So, but for now we're just gonna use these ones. You're like precariously on the desk because legitimately I have shit everywhere. Everywhere. Like, I didn't know I had this much shit, but I do. So, okay. Let me get actually into the video because you're probably like, come on, Raquel, like stop talking, just like stop talking about nonsense so that you can get to the actual content of the piece. I get it. I get that. I got you. Amaryllis. That's what I want to talk about. Because I don't think I've really... Because if my last video I filmed back in like... When did I last film? I think I actually last filmed on my computer, like, back in like September or so. And then on my camera, I did a drawing, which you haven't seen at all. I don't even know where all that footage is. Pretty sure some of it's on my computer, so I just have to like go through it and edit and like time lapse it and all that kind of jazz. It was a good drawing. I saw some pictures from it. They were still in the queue of my camera, so it came out nice. But that I have to do. That was like October, I think. Maybe November. I don't even know. So it's been a while since I last filmed. So in that time, things have evolved. Things have changed as they do in life. Things grow and improve and kind of decline and then improve and decline and improve and all that jazz. So again, I'm probably not going to be looking directly at the camera. I know I should probably work on that, but right now I'm not doing that. So if that annoys you, maybe just listen to the video and not actually watch the content. Yeah. So I'm gonna like tinker with things in my hands pretty much. But Amaryllis, yes. So I can't really tell you that much about it. Just for confidentiality reasons and like privacy reasons and like all those kinds of reasons. You know, I think something I will talk about, because this idea I find myself faced with multiple times, is like how much information to give of myself on the internet, because like I think we even talked about it in like peer-to-peer, right? About sort of like safety online and how that's really important. But the thing is, like, kind of like I almost feel as though in some respects I have broadcasted information that is more readily available, and like if I wanted to take it back now, I can't really because it's already out there. And I kind of go by the concept that like if somebody really wants to find out like who I am and like where I'm from and all that kind of stuff, like they'll figure it out. Like there are websites that just have your information on it and stuff like that, and like I know I guess you don't have to make it easier for them, but like if it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen kind of thing. So, like that's how I kind of view it. But I'm faced with this thing with videos, especially where it's like I want to like film like the cafe that I filmed at today, or like, you know, the festival kind of thing, which you don't know about, but I filmed at a festival this year, and like, you know, filming at like different places. But like, do I say like the actual name of the place, or do I make up a new name for it because like somebody could figure out, oh, if you live by this thing, that means you live in this town, or you know what I mean? Like, it's like, I feel, I guess in the last year, I feel that I'm faced with this, like, predicament, I suppose, you know, of like, do I say the name of the place, the actual name of the place, rather than like just my pseudonym for the place? Or like how much info do I want to be out on the internet? And like, I don't know if other people like think about that or like worry about that, but I don't know, because I mean like part of it is like, oh well, it would be good publicity kind of stuff, which is true. I'm just sort of realizing like, oh, like the cafe, I don't want to, like, yes, it's good publicity for them, right? But then I don't want that to be like, oh, you went there because it's near here, so therefore you must live here, and we're gonna like track you down and like, you know, and like swatting and doxing and all that kind of jazz. But I don't know, just something I've been encountering more this year, I suppose. Just how much do you tell, how much do you show, and where do you draw the line, you know? I think I even faced that like last year when like somebody watched a couple of my videos that were on the darker side, and they like called their local authorities to like, for me, you know, and it was like a nice gesture. It was just like 3 months later. So if I needed it, like it would have been like more like, you know, adequate to have done it sooner, but it was 3 months later and everything like that. And I don't know, just things like that. Like, I mean, I guess like when it comes to like wellness checks, like safety concerns, like yes, like do that, but like also don't like send pizzas to my house. Like don't do that. So I don't know, that's just something that I was, I guess, just on my mind right now, is that sort of balance between like how much do you say and how much do you keep to yourself. Because another thing related to this is the idea that, which kind of goes into the work I'm doing with Amaryllis, is like, I totally forgot where I was going with that. But Amaryllis, you're not, there are boundaries. There are boundaries, and one of the things is like, if you have gone through, you know, living in like a residential, or like let's say I lived in a residential, right? Which I mean, I kind of have, but like not really, but like it's like words, you know, kind of. But let's say if I lived in a residential, I'm not allowed to cross that boundary with a kid, because if I say that, they can use it against me, even though it could be like the most like happiest, like, you know, I got through it and like everything's great now and like that kind of thing. They could still like use a way like, oh, like, you know, formulate responses to kind of like attack you for it, and like kind of like you have to just not take it personal and all that kind of stuff. But like you're like discouraged from like really revealing too much about yourself, because again, it's that sort of like safety issue, and like the like, you know, the more you tell, then the more people will know, and then it's like, I don't know, it's really tricky, I guess, and there's a lot of boundaries, and I look at it as trying to go in as like a blank canvas. Like, you can talk about hobbies and like what you're interested in, things like that, like that's fine, but you can't talk about like, you know, things that are more personal that you would tell like maybe like a coworker or like a friend, close friend, or, you know, other types of jobs, things like that. So there's that. But like, for me, like, talking about it right now, it's like, you're discouraged from doing that, and the matter that came up with that is like, do I disclose mental health? And honestly, when I went into the like, it was interesting, right? Because Amaryllis was like, I had a job interview. It was like back in like September this year, 2019, and I had to, like, I woke up, it was like a Saturday, I woke up, and I had to go to a job interview, and I was like, I really don't want to go, like, I had talked it over with my family therapist, and, like, from the sounds of the job, it like, just didn't seem like something I wanted to do, and then my parents were like, just go for it, like, there's nothing, you don't lose anything by, like, going. So I went, and, hearing about the job, in the interview, I really fell in love with it, and I really, like, wanted to do it, and, like, I went, like, completely, did a 360 kind of thing, because I really wanted to work and, like, do that kind of stuff. And it's essentially like a residential for troubled youth, trauma-informed perspective and everything. And, so I really wanted it afterward, and then, I was told cautionary tales, and it's a big, like, life skills based place in a sense, like as a employee there, which I don't have a lot of life skills, so largely it's me trying to avoid and, like, hope that I don't have to go, like, drive somewhere that I don't know, and, like, all that kind of stuff, like, because I have anxieties about driving and stuff that I've largely avoided over the years, and I don't know, I have to work on that, but the big thing was, like, I didn't, like, from what I learned at program and, like, at family therapy and stuff, like, I didn't disclose that I had any mental health conditions, because I didn't want that to sway the perspective of me and what I can do, like, how I'm capable of the job and stuff like that. And then when I got the call, like, at the end of September that they were going to offer me the job, I could have said it then, because you can say it, like, it's best not to say it during the interview, and, like, if you're going to disclose that you have a mental health condition, it's best to do it when they offer you the job, because if you try to do it either before, like in the interview, they might, like, be like, oh, we don't want this person, which is, stupid and dumb and, like, not cool, but it does happen. Or if you wait until, like, afterward, when you start struggling, and you're like, hey, actually, I have a condition, like, that's problematic too. So, like, if you're gonna disclose, you have to do it before you, like, accept the job. So I didn't do that. So I was just like, I'm just not gonna. And I don't know, it's interesting because it's like, there's some coworkers, okay, so I went in. We got this, okay. I got offered the job at the end of September. I started doing trainings, from, like, October to, like, November. Doing, like, a few hours trainings, and, like, some of it was, like, physical management, which is a term they use instead of restraints, and then, like, just, like, confidentiality stuff, and, like policies and things like that. Some of it is, like, you just go take notes and then leave kind of thing. And then I had a couple of my first shadowing experiences in October. It was actually because originally I was interviewed for the adolescent kids, but I actually spent a couple hours on the kids unit, so, like, from, like, ages 3 to 12. And then I actually really liked it. And then I was like, oh man, like, maybe I should go work with the little kids instead of, like, because I felt like teenagers are particularly hard to work with just because they tell you to fuck off and everything like that. Like, so, I mean, with kids, you don't really get them. But, yeah, so I was originally going to go with the teens, but I went with the little kids instead. And, because the little kids, they need more direction, which I'm not great at, but, because I've never worked with kids before either. Like, I don't have that experience. But by November, I was actually taking shifts, so I've been working, except one Friday I didn't work, but I largely work Fridays, because Friday is considered part of the weekend, and I haven't got called to, like, I went out on Halloween with them, with someone else was driving, and I was like, that was not bad at all, but I haven't, like, done, like, the driving aspect of it, because they do go on, like, outings and stuff like that, like, I forget what they call it, but they do go on, like, outings and stuff, and, like, the med stuff, like MAP, as I was mentioning earlier, the MAP stuff, and all this kind of, like, medication stuff, and, like, it's just, like, one of the points I was trying to make, they definitely discourage personal information, right? So, like, you wouldn't friend your therapist on Facebook kind of thing. It's like that. Like, you gotta have, you know, pretty strict boundaries and, like, keep to your boundaries and all that kind of stuff. Which is important in lots of other activities and situations. They would deem, like, personal information, like, personal information doesn't necessarily mean, like, hobbies. You know, that's kind of like common ground. Or, like, favorite color, you know, common ground. Personal information would be like health, past experiences, lived experiences, things like that. And it was interesting to me because I think because I do advocacy work, and I have been since relatively early on in my recovery, I feel that I have a different definition of what is personal, what is public. I used to be very, very, very private, even though I was online and stuff. I was on, like, DeviantArt. I was very, like, I didn't have my name or anything attached to it. And I don't think, I think if we go back 10 years, right, like, when I'm 16, I feel like I probably would have been really uncomfortable with how open I am about things now. Just because it wasn't, like, something I could conceive in a sense, you know? Whether that's good or bad, I guess technically it's judgment, but, but, like, and the interesting thing with NAMI is that, like, I think I've taken, but it's conditional. It's conditional. But I've taken, like, a really personal matter and, like, just obliterated it and then made it into, like, a really public kind of thing. And especially with, like, articles too, like, I did that. Like, it was, again, like, something very, like, private that I made public. And, like, on YouTube, do that. On my blog, do that. And, like, so it's interesting because when it came to, like, thinking of mental health and, like, my story and all that kind of stuff as, like, a personal thing rather than, like, you know, as, like, a personal private thing rather than a public thing, that was kind of like a mindfuck a little bit when I was like, how do I like separate those two things, because they're two different things. So that was something I had to kind of, like, learn about. And I'm with my coworkers, it's different. It's a different kind of relationship than, like, with a kid and stuff. But, like, I like my coworkers a lot, actually. I get a lot of, like, validation and, like, appreciated and, like, oh, hold on, I'm gonna stop this real quick. Hold on.
I can see a lighthouse through the smoke. Everything is lost, I know.